Hello and welcome to the next introduction to CBLOL team that's becoming a part of Americas in LTA South. We're going over Fluxo. Yesterday we went over Faria Esports. Fluxo have not been around that long, only 2 years, and haven't even finished in the top half of CBLOL. So unlike Faria, though, they could still finish 8th place because there are 8 teams left. So Fluxo overall, I believe they're 37 and 35, not 37 and 36. Either way, 51% win rate or so. Playoffs 4 and 12, 25% win rate there. Finishes, they finished 6th 3 times and 8th once. If you make the playoffs, I count where you finish in the playoffs as your finishing position. So, fact of the matter is, Fluxo definitely have left a little bit to be desired. A team that came in, and if I recall correctly, had a lot of money, which is in part why they were able to get Brant off the rip, a player that I thought should have went to the LCS or LEC after Worlds 2022, but Fluxo somehow were able to convince him to stay in Brazil and kind of stagnate his career a bit. Now, of course, in the end, he's in Americas either way, but that is a thing. So, some notable players on Fluxo. In top lane, most games played is Tay. He had a 52% win rate. DiStefano, same deal. Because the team's only played 2 years and they pretty much went with one roster 1 year and then another roster the next year, pretty much holds true unless there's some substitutes. So, in mid lane, Fu played 45 games. And House technically has a better win rate, 52%, because, he played on the other team the other year, vice versa. When we look at bot lane, we have Brant, 44 games, 52% win rate. Support, Scamber played 45 games. JoJo had the better win rate at 52%. Some moves this team's made recently. On Meta was allowed to leave. He was the coach of the team for their first 2 years. And Scamber was let go early from his contract. So we'll see what the team ends up doing going forward. But, like I said, a team that's shown to have deep pockets and an organization that maybe will go get NA players or better import players to try and throw in their lineup or, the best available Brazilian or Latin American players just because, they have the money, right? But I also have to keep in mind, when you go and spend a bunch of money and don't have the results, sometimes you run out of money. Or you say to yourself, maybe this isn't the way. Maybe I should go with younger players or try and develop something here. Because, a player like Tay has been around the block, right? They knew what they're getting with him. But Decimus is a player that I think is pretty talented. With Vivo Kitty looked pretty good this year as well. Brant, of course, I think is cracked. Now, going from JoJo to Scamber is definitely a play. Not a play I'd agree with, but a play nonetheless. Unlike Faria, we had a little bit of history, like 5 seasons of mediocrity. With Fluxo, we just have 2 seasons of mediocre at best. Half of the time, 3/4 of the time, they're finishing 6th place out of 10 teams. So, it's interesting in a way, the teams that ended up getting into Americas from Brazil, because you have teams that really haven't done great the last couple of years, somehow getting spots over those that didn't, right? So, you have Pain and Red and Loud, 3 teams we've seen go to international events the last few years, but then you have these 2 teams, and it's like, really, this is the play we're going with here. So, it is a thing. We'll see what happens going forward. If you're a fan of Fluxo, comment down below. Give us some insight on this team. If you're a hater or not a fan of Fluxo and you only want to, throw shade at Fluxo, I'd prefer you didn't, because I want, what do the fans think? What is this fan base like? What do they think their team's going to do going forward? Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.